Well, it's come time to work with the top of the steering, the steering box or the gearbox top, whichever you'd like to call it. And we pulled all the gear stick sockets out because they were quite worn. The gear stick was worn. The high-low wasn't too bad. We're going to use the high-low again. There's a little bit of wear there, but in the new gates that we got out of the 35, it's fine. Now, I didn't have a spring washer on this pitman arm here, and they're supposed to have one, so I've taken that nut off and I've put a washer there. Now, this is a brand new Sparex gear stick. My other gear stick was that buggered that it wasn't worth playing with. So to have the socket there, you can put the gear stick in, and look, I usually like to have a bit of grease in there. Look, and I don't know what other people's thoughts are on that, but I think, well, if it's a moving part and you have a bit of grease there, it'll either, I suppose it can either become valve grinding paste type thing and abrasive, or it can just lubricate the thing if you keep it clean, so lubricate the socket. So if we take the gear stick in there, the spring goes on and it just sits in the bottom there. And then there's this little retainer. So the retainer comes in under the fat part of the spring there, of the lever. The spring holds that in place, and there you go. Your gear stick can't come out. Now, they do have a pin that goes through and stops the gear stick lifting out, but I don't put that in until after I get the whole assembly done. So what I like to do here is you bring this up through. You can see where it just starts to come up here. Now, at this stage, there's two flats on the side of these new sockets. And look, they're on the old sockets too, it's not just the new ones. And there's a thread there that comes down over these to hold them in place. Now, what the idea is to get this pin that goes through exactly at 90 degrees, these flats, you can turn the steering box and make sure that these flats are as close as you can get them to at 90 degrees. So if you run, the square doesn't work real well, but I'm just trying to get the idea through to you that if you turn that so it's level, as close as you can to level with the side of the housing here. So that one needs to turn. And then, hey, how's that for a catch, eh? So once you get it there, you can just bring it up. I'll actually go and get a punch, a brass punch. And once you're happy that that's square, you can come in underneath with your punch and help it into place. I'll have to get it out here a little bit further. So all I'm doing is that shoulder there, I'm giving that a bump. So I'll try and tip him over and get a nice straight hit. Just checking that that's at 90 degrees or as close as we can get there for the moment. And you can actually get this, and look, I might do it just to show you. Look, it'll make getting this in easier. Is pop that gear stick out of the road. But this just needs to go right up. There's little bits of brass coming off my punch there. It's certainly a hard bush. I'll just give that a wipe. I'm not. I probably should use something apart from a brass punch. The brass is soft against the collar there. Oh, geez, she's a heavy old thing. But once you get it up there, you can start the nut on the top here. And I've just cleaned all those up and put them on the belt sander just to get a nice flat surface and a nice surface to paint shortly. And I should have a little C-spanner here, but I can't seem to find it, so. So we'll just nip that up there a little bit, and I might get another punch yet. It's important to make sure that that's all the way home. So we'll find another punch up here. I should have a flat bottomed one. This one here, that's just a flat bottom punch I've used for bushes and that in the past. And look, that feels like it's all the way home. It just went hard there, so I think we were probably all the way. So that should tidy that up nicely. I'll just clean any grease out of there again, just in case a bit of that brass swarf got in there from the punch. And it's no trouble just to pop a bit back in. Okay. Now the range lever, the high-low lever just sits in there. It doesn't have a spring, and you may notice that this lever here has an oval hole because it's got to go sideways and up and forward and back, where this one just has to go up and back, so it doesn't need the elongated pin. So once again, same story. You bring him up through. Make sure that the pin is straight, you know, it's square to the housing, so you get a nice straight run. This one's an easier one to get in by a mile, which I'll still go this way. I think it'll be all right. Okay, we can feel that's gone right home. You can actually see that it's gone right home. So once again, we'll lift him up. Pop a bit of oil in there. And once again, we'll get the old favourite multis and just go steady so you don't burr the nut up. Oh, and that's nice and tight. So, get the grease pot. Now, the pins that go through, we're going to put new ones in. These are a wearing part. They do wear out. One of these was broken off and didn't go all the way. But yeah, they come in from the side there and you've got a knurling there. So that knurling, you tap on the knurling end and you take him through until it's even both sides is what you're really looking for. So we will try with this little range lever first. And I'll put a couple of these fellas here just to give the gear stick room. So the gear stick comes down there, you line the pin up here and in she goes. Probably one more, right? Yeah, look, that's pretty well even. Okay, so that gear stick I took out before, I've got to put the bloody thing back. So in it goes, the spring goes on, you can feel it locate, you can press the spring and bring this in the side. I'll turn him around so I can actually see what I'm doing. Okay, that's in. It's all located nicely in there. Hopefully you can see it. It's a bit shadowy really, isn't it? But anyway. Once more, we'll set that up on one of these spaces. Turn the gear stick around so it's in a working position. Now these pins are Sparex S41552. They would have hundreds of them at any time, I would imagine. And we line that up. I'll have to redress this punch, I think. Perhaps a little more. Okay, I'm happy with that. So we have our steering box all assembled, our gear sticks put back in with new sockets. I'll just take all this out of the way. So because it can go sideways, that's why you have the slots in that one, and this one's just straightforward. All right, I'll set the camera up over the other side. I've got the gasket sitting in place. We'll see if we can drop this down and get all the selectors lined up and all that in one hit. Hopefully we will. Okay, I've put all the detents in and new detent springs, and they're all ready to go. I've got the gasket and I've just put grease on the gasket. Now there's a little bit of tension on there, but look, very little. Now we need to make sure that this is lined up. That fella there is lined up. You can just make sure they're home. And what the idea is to bring the steering box over, line him straight up and slide the gear sticks in there. So what we'll do, so we're not slopping around everywhere, we'll do our usual and pop a couple of dowel pins in. And that should let us get it in line while we line those fellas up. So let's have a go. Okay, we can sit that there somewhere around where it's going to go, and then we can see underneath where the sticks should go roughly. So we'll try and hold the gear sticks in place with one hand. And slide that. So that one's in place. I think we've missed with this one. So we have to lift him up again. That's in place, that's in place. You can feel it in the gate there. So we'll drop a couple more bolts in. We'll try and get them all started before we start tightening any down. I've pre-cleaned all the bolts. Actually, I had 8, now I've got 7. So anyway. I'll take this dowel out. Pop him in there. Take this dowel out again. Pop him down there. If that's feeling good, I'll just get the spanner and we'll just bring it all down gently. You can feel the spring tension here. We'll bring one of these back fellas down. I could have a ratchet and run this down, and I probably will get a ratchet shortly, but I just like to bring things down and have that feel as I go. And there's quite a bit of spring tension at the front here, so I'll just put a dowel in where I've got that bolt missing. I cleaned it up, I've just sat it somewhere. That's feeling okay. So now we should be able to So that'll be first. Reverse. Third. Oh, second. Third. Okay, so we've got all the gears. It's easy to test now. And look, I'll bolt this down off camera, no need to watch Lance on a spanner. Now, I have to go through my stuff and find a filler bung. This has had all the edges broken off it. This was the one on the tractor. And that screws there, so I have to deal with that. And now the box is in, I can actually fill it up with oil. The bung on the other side here has the oil fill, and look, that'll do for that. That's the steering box all sorted, the gear sticks done and fitted, and yeah, look, I think we can hop back into that hydraulic cover and go from there.